presentation here. Yes, okay. In today's session, as I mentioned, we are going to know the difference between present simple and the present continuous. Okay. But before we start, we need to read each example in green, and we are going to choose between A and or B. يبقى أول حاجة هنعملها إن شاء الله بنقرأ السنتنس اللي موجودة فيه in green باللون الأخضر وبعد كده بنتشوز between A or B. So the first sentence says water boils at 100 Celsius degrees. What do you think of that? If you have a look at the picture that you can see, okay, you will find the water is boiling. You know that. So this is something which is habit or a scientific fact. So if we think that, we can see that if we heat water, it boils. So that's a fact. بدأت أظبط الصوت هناك لسه. أوري الكتب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم. I'm so happy to be with you. My name is Mr. Muhammad Nagib from Egypt. أنا سعيد جدا إن أنا موجود معاكم من خلال منصة هانر، وإن شاء الله أرجو إن يكون في استفادة بإذن الله. Let's start our session. Get ready and let's get started. In this session, as you have already known, that we are going to talk about the difference between present simple and present progressive. Okay, so let's get started and let's start. What I want from you اللي أنا طبعا زي ما احنا عارفين محتاجين إن نتعلم النهارده زي ما احنا عارفين عن إزاي نفرق بين present simple اللي هو المضارع البسيط والpresent progressive اللي هو المضارع المستمر. Let's get started for the first example here. Water boils at 100 Celsius degrees. So I know that you already know water boils at 100 Celsius degrees. Yeah, do you think it is a habit or a fact? So water boiling. So if you have a look on the picture, okay, shown in the slide, you will find that the water is boiling. So as you see in front of your eyes, we need to think about that first. So water boils at 100 Celsius degrees، يعني درجة غليان المياه عند 100 درجة. طبعا ده شيء حقيقي ولا habit? What's your opinion? Yeah, you're right. So the right answer is a scientific fact. Yeah, that's right. Now, let's move to number 2. Before we move to that, if I ask you, can you give me a scientific fact? Do you know anything, any piece of information, أي معلومة عن الحقائق العلمية زي ما بندرس في مادة العلوم؟ Yes, you're right. Water freezes at 0 Celsius degrees. That's right. That's a scientific fact. If we heat water, it boils. That's a scientific fact. Now move to question or the sentence number 2. I live in Jeddah. What do you think? I live in Jeddah. Now and in the past and tomorrow. So the action is permanent. It's a permanent action. It is not a habit, because a habit refers to verbs of frequency, as you know, like sometimes and so on. So here, I live in Jeddah, it's a permanent situation. Permanent situation, the action, الأكشن اللي هو not change، مش متغير. action ثابت. انا اتولدت موجود في جده فانا بعيش في جده، فده شيء طبيعي. في جده او جده فده شيء طبيعي جدا. So here the right answer is the permanent situation. Another example, if you think about that, oh, actions in our life which last, okay, which don't change, we call them permanent situation for ourselves. For example, I work as an English teacher, so that's what I want to say. So that's my work, and it lasts. Okay, so let's move to number 3. I want one of you to read. Yeah, you can read it. Yes, that's right. Fahd sometimes goes shopping. If we have a look at that, what do you think? It's what? A permanent situation? Do you think that the action doesn't change, or it's a habit? Yeah, that's right. So the right answer here is a habit. Before we move to the next slide, we need to focus. محتاجين ان احنا نركز على الword sometimes here, adverbs of frequency, as you know. طبعا ظروف التكرار, sometimes, often, always, usually, frequently, and so on. So these are adverbs of frequency. If you see one of them in this session, so we need to talk about sometimes we use them to express about the present simple tense. But before we move to the next slide, we are going to have a look at the verb here. So the verb here is boils. I'm going to change the color. Be with me. Yes. Yeah, I think this would be better. Let's ensure this. Yeah. Here, boils. So the verb has an S. Watch out. Now we are in grade 3. And we already know that. So the verb has S. Here, live. Okay, the verb without S because the subject is I. Here, so the verb here has an ES. Why do you think that? Yeah, here we have Fahd. So the pronoun is he. So keep in your mind that we know I, we, you, they, or any plural noun doesn't take S. But if the subject or the pronoun is he, she, it, or third person or singular noun, we are going to use the verb with S. Okay, now here let's move to the next slide here. Yes, be ready? Yeah. So Question number one, we need to read and match. طبعا هنشوف البوكس ده محتاجين ان احنا نعمل matching or reading للسنتنس بتاعتنا ونحاول نعمل matching. So number one is when we eat ice, it melts. So what do you think of that? To answer this question, well, you need to read the table carefully before you start your answer. Number two, my dad works as an officer. Yeah. Number three, I often go to Mecca to do or to perform Umrah. Okay, and so on. On the right hand, we have a habit, as we know, a fact or a scientific fact, and permanent situation. So number one is, what do you think here? So that's right. Number one is a half fact. Yeah, that's right. That's perfect. Thank you. Now let's move to number two. So keep in your mind that when we talk about facts or scientific facts, doesn't something we all know according to the science. Move to number two. What about number two? My dad, yes, works as an officer. So think of the verb. The verb is works. Yeah, that's a perfect permanent situation. Yeah. When you come to life, you found that your father is an officer and you see that he wears uniform. So the last one, I know it's so easy. Yeah. Okay, let me show that because it's only one. So it's a habit. Thank you for that. Now you have to choose the correct answer to consolidate عشان نأكد على المعنى اللي احنا عرفناه. And we're going to discuss that already. Now let's move to number one. Okay, I'm going to say it. The sun in the west. Didn't you know that? What do you think of that? Set, sets is setting. What do you think? Yeah, I'm waiting for your answer. I know that you will get it easily. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? Is it a habit or a fact or a permanent situation? What do you think? Yeah, it's a fact. Yeah, we all know that. Okay, so the answer is fact. Present simple or continuous? No, we need to focus on the present simple. Here I'm going to choose set. Yeah, I hear your question. Why I choose sets, not set? Yeah, if you have a look, as I mentioned, the sun, it's singular. So the verb needs to be with an S. Now, let's move to number two. Yeah, no, always choose the safari park or safari park. What's your opinion? That's your question. You will answer it. Yeah, no, yeah, that's the subject. So the verb should have an S or not. What do you think? Yeah, it should have an S. So goes to the safari park. So let's wrap up what we have discussed before we move to the next slide. Okay, we know that present simple expresses about number one, a habit. Okay, can you tell me what do you do every day? Yes, I sometimes watch TV. Yeah, I often do something. So that's a habit. About the fact, as we mentioned, water, anything relates to science. Now let's move to the next. If you have any question, you can send me in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so let's move to the next slide here. Yeah. So if you look at the picture in the slide, you will find people, boys and girls, are playing or whatever, playing football. So if we have a look into example one, yes, look, Nawaf is playing football. B, let's join him. So if you have a look, what I say, look here, I attract your eyes and your mind and جذبت انتباهك. So I let you see the action happening in front of your eyes. الأكشن بيحدث أمام عينينا. فالأكشن بالنسبة لي هل هو now or a changing situation؟ طبعا changing يعني متغير. وعندي now at the time of speaking, the action which is in progress. Like now, okay, now let's move to the next. That's your turn. The weather is getting hotter and hotter. What do you think of that? Is it a temporary action or a changing action? So look at the verb here. Let's see the verb is getting, yes, hotter and hotter. So it is changing over the time or over the day. So the action is a changing situation. Let's move to number 2. My mother is making a cake at the moment. So the action is happening at the moment, right now. Now, as I mentioned, when we know that the action is happening in front of our eyes, we see that. So the action is happening now. Yeah, that's right. So what is the difference between a changing situation? If I ask you to give me an example, لو حبيت اسالك انك تديني example، ايه اللي في حياتنا not fixed، مش ثابت، زي المثال بتاع الويذر ده. عندنا مثلا عمرنا، we are getting older and older. العمر مش ثابت. For example, your sister, your little sister, she's young. So she is getting taller and taller day after day. If we think about prices around us, الأسعار حوالينا، economic crisis، الأزمة الاقتصادية اللي في العالم، فالأسعار not fixed. So prices are getting higher and higher. So it's a changing situation. So I'm speaking right now, you are writing, so that's right now. Move to number 3. This month, they are staying in a hotel till they buy a new flat. Here we have 2 parts of the sentence. Here we have this month, they are staying in a hotel. Okay, and we have the connector or linker, till they buy, another sentence. So here, do you think they will stay in the hotel forever? Do you think that، هل تعتقد ان هم يفضلوا قاعدين في الفندق ده للابد يعني مثلا؟ طبعا لا. انا زي ما احنا شايفين هنا ان هم قاعدين. Yeah, right, no. So when they buy the new villa, so the action, it's changing or temporary? After getting the villa, so we are going to stay. But this time, this month only, so it's a temporary action, which, the action which changes, okay? Or the action which is, we can say what doesn't last. If you want to compare between the temporary action which happens for a short time, for some time, and the permanent action or permanent situation which lasts. When I say I live in Jeddah, you remember the question, but this month, this week, I'm living in Jeddah. Now, will you accept the challenge for the next slide? I hope that you can, or you never. So challenge yourself. طبعا المفروض ان احنا نتحدى نفسنا بعد يعني في حياتنا عموما. never give up. بنعمل mistakes كلنا. never quit. Okay, لا تتنازل. استمر. Let's see, and I know that you will get it right. This is for the last slide. Okay, I hope that you can differentiate and get it well. By the way, I have made a mistake. So let's see number 1. Let's see number 1 here. Yeah, you can start. Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna delete it. So I usually my cousins in the summer. You remember what I say? We say sometimes, we say always. You remember? Yes, that's right. Adverbs of frequency. So here what I'm going to choose, do I think of present simple or present progressive? Yeah, you're right, present simple. But here we have two forms of the verb with S and without S. So what I do at that moment, we need to think about, لازم نفكر في السبجكت. السبجكت بتاعي هنا لو بصينا السبجكت بتاعي هنا I. So the answer is A or B. So we agree that I'm not going to choose or use this. So what I'm going to choose? Yes, you're right. Visit. Now move to number 2. My parents the newspaper every day. If you have a look on the mega goal 1, you will find the exercise or this answer or this sentence, sorry. So my parents, so the subject is, so we have every day. So it's repeated action. It's a routine that my parents do every day. So, or habits. So I'm going to choose between read and reads. Your answer is yes, that's right. Read. Huh. Okay. So the next teenagers being told what to do. طبعا كلنا في السن ده teenagers مراهقين مش بنحب حد يتكلم معانا ويدينا اوامر و الى اخره. But not everyone مش اي حد طبعا. اوكي. مش اي حد طبعا عندنا my father my parents عندي عيلتي عندي التيتشرز بتوعي فانا المفروض ان انا ممكن اسمع لهم مش اي حد اسمع. So teenagers yes don't like because teenagers with an S. Okay, I'll skip number 4. Okay, because there is a mistake. Let's move to number 5. This coffee strange. Is yours okay? So here, what do you think? I think it could be difficult because I don't mention it while I am explaining my session. So what do you think? Depend on your sense. Depend on your sense. Yeah, this coffee is tasting. Do you think that coffee has a tongue to taste? Yeah, right. So taste, that's it. Keep in your mind that we don't use the verbs of perception like taste or like think, yeah, think, or taste, feel sometimes. We're going to talk about that later. Okay, I want you to think about the next, or let's see about the next slide. Okay, yeah, take your time. Okay, you can have a minute to read this carefully, think about each one. If you have a question, you can ask me. I give you 1 minute to think about each of these sentences. Okay. Okay, time's up. Okay, let's see that. But it's your own. Yeah, it's your own here. You are going to choose, by the way. Yeah, you need to think, you need to use your mind, and I know that you will get it very well. Yeah, we have 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Okay. In part 1, we are going to choose between A and B. In part 2, we are going to choose between A and B. So, part 1, we in Cairo from 2002 to 2006. So, here, what do you think? Which year that we are in? Yeah, we are in 2022. So the action happened when? Huh? Yes, happened in the past. You're right. So here I'm gonna choose lived because refers to the past. Now move to number 2. I as a teacher since 2011. So here, since means what? I started working as a teacher, okay, since 2011. Yes. طبعا بدأت منذ 2011 but I'm still working as a teacher. I don't stop. So I'm gonna to be. So in part one, do you think that the action finished or not? 2006. So it's finished. It's over. Yeah. Here it's since 2011, and I'm still working right now. I'm working as a teacher. So it's unfinished time. Now the last one, I'll keep the change for the assignment or the assessment. You can do it at home, okay? So part 2 match with part 1. So we in Cairo from 2002 to 2006. So here, unfinished or finished? Yeah, I hear you, you're right. That's finished line. And the other is unfinished line. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you understand what I have said, and I hope that we can meet again. See you and bye. Thank you.